Hello, everyone. I'm Ben Johnson, and this is the Perpetual Chess Podcast. On Perpetual Chess, I have weekly conversations with the chess world's best players, promoters, and educators about their lives, careers, current projects, and best practices. For more information, go to perpetualchesspod.com. Hello, everyone. I'm here with International Master Luke Harmon-Vellotti. Luke is fresh off winning some enormous contest, beating like everyone in the world except for me to work for Google. So congratulations, Luke.
Thank you.
Quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's really tough. Google has about 3 million applicants a year, and they give jobs to about 3,000. So it's a very tough competition since Google is just such an amazing place. From what I've heard, at least, I've heard it's an amazing place to work for.
Yeah, that's the word on the street for sure. I was wondering, because I read the article that made the rounds, at least in the United States, the little news release about it, and I was wondering where the 3 million number came from. So that's 3 million applicants total to work for Google, and they hire 3,000 people?
Yes.
So it's not like a specific program.
No, it's not like the 3 million people didn't apply for my specific job. But
okay.
Yeah, so I think it's just around the world.
Okay, and was your job like a specific, was it a specific program of any sort, or was it just general hiring of college graduates?
Yeah, so it's kind of, I just applied for like the software engineering job.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting in that, so I was hired like 4 months ago, but I still haven't been put on a team. So I still don't actually know, when I arrived at Google, I don't know what I'm actually going to be doing yet. So back in July or so, I'll be speaking with some people there, some like heads of different teams, and then from that we'll find a good match. But yeah, it was a very general job, so they just want to see if you can just do some. If they're going to hire me for something involving coding, but I don't really know what yet. Okay,
and is the delay due to waiting for you to finish school, or just their schedule, or what?
I think the initial thing was just they want to make sure that you can do whatever team you do end up getting hired for. They want to make sure that you're going to have the skills to succeed on that team. And I think they're probably just waiting for me to graduate and just making sure everything goes through. They don't want to have me speak with everybody and then something to happen. So
okay. And did I read something that you needed to be 18 for a certain aspect of it?
Yeah, so I applied for the job back in October, September, around that time. So that was when I was 17. So there were 3 rounds of interviews. There's like a online test at the beginning. Then the second round is a phone screening. So I speak with like an engineer. And then the final round of interviewing is where they fly you out to the Google campus, and you have an entire day of interviews. So like four 45-minute interviews plus like a lunch interview. But before they could fly me out, so this was back in October, and I turned 18 in November. So before they could fly me out, they had to wait for me to turn 18 because they're not legally allowed to fly me out until I'm 18.
Oh, funny. Okay.
So we had to put the process on hold for 2 months until that.
Okay, and I think a lot of listeners will have come across your story, and people in the U.S. will have heard of you just because of your chess accomplishments. But for those of you listening in that don't know about Luke's background, so he just got hired by Google as a programmer, and he had gone to college early as well. You went to UCLA. So did you spend 4 years there?
Yeah, so I spent the 4 years there. So I started here at 14, and then I'm graduating at 18.
Okay, and also international master in chess, won more national titles than I can count, and quite good at the math competitions as well, I guess, from what I read.
Yeah, not quite as good as a chess competition, but still compete in those for fun.
Okay, so you're still doing that too?
Yeah, there's not really very much. Once you go out of college, like there's one big one in college called the Putnam, that like most of the math, but a lot of the math like competitors take. But besides that, there's like after college, there's not as much, unlike chess, where you can just do it.
Okay. And we had another young wizard as a guest, David Brodsky. I don't know if you know him. He's a little younger than you, but seems to be following in your footsteps because he does the math competitions and just got his IM title. So
oh, well, yeah.
Maybe you'll be writing a recommendation for him for Google in a couple years. But But so he told me a little bit about the math competition, but one question I'm wondering is like, is it based more on degree of difficulty or like speed of solving problems?
It's actually not really based on either. So the competition, most of the like the higher, like at the highest levels of math, it's not really about speed or difficulty. It's mostly just about creativity. So the problems that you get on these competitions, you don't need a college degree. Like usually all you need is math that you learn in high school. But just the things that these make things difficult is that the solutions usually just require you to be extremely creative. And they're usually pretty simple too. Like once you see the solution, it's not very complicated, but it's just strange. So yeah, and they're usually not super fast. Different ones usually get between like 30 minutes to an hour and a half per problem.
Okay.
So you get plenty of time.
So are they kind of like the sort of logic problems you would come across, like sort of hypotheticals of like, you know, getting people across the river or getting people out of the room sort of thing, or is it more strictly math oriented?
Yes, it's more strictly math oriented. I think with the logic problems, yeah, there's not really anything. They all have like very clear answers, and like once you have an answer, you know if it's right or wrong.
Okay.
So like with the logic problem, because there can be some ambiguity there, and they don't really want that on like a nationwide test. So.
Okay, and we're jumping around a little bit, but getting back to the Google hiring. So the article I read indicated it was quite an intensive process as well. So what was the interview process, to the extent you're allowed to talk about it? What was that like? What sort of questions did they ask, and did they do tests? And tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the tests or the interviews that I had, they're all purely technical. So I'll go. So for like one of my interviews, I'll be in a room. Might be two people interviewing me, and they'll give me some kind of algorithm. So an algorithm is like a sequence of steps that you can perform to do some goal. So a really simple one might be, if you have a list of numbers, can you add up all the numbers in the list?
Okay.
So, and you'd write an algorithm in like a specific language. So my language that I chose was C++.
Okay.
And then I'd write this on a whiteboard. So normally when you're coding on a computer, and like there's tools that like help you out if you like make small mistakes. But there they have you code on a whiteboard. So it's pretty it's really tough, just because if you make small mistakes, like you're not gonna there's no one to help you catch them.
Okay. And is it like, are you graded or?
You don't know at the time. So,
okay.
Like they'll just say like they're taking notes and they're writing down, they're taking notes on the computer, presumably of what of the algorithms and like the steps you took to solve the problem, but you don't know at the time if like how you did.
Okay. So. And you don't know to what extent like your hiring is based on getting the answers right and performance on the test versus like, you know, most jobs they would consider sort of overall fit with the workplace, extracurricular, like, you know, try to evaluate your potential, stuff like that. So I'm guessing all that stuff does go into it. It's not like strictly whoever wrote the best code gets it, is it?
I don't think so. I think more so than other positions, I think it is based on just coding.
Oh wow!
I'm guessing they do consider other things, but at least during the interviews they don't. I had a total of 5 interviews, and all 5 interviews, all they asked me was technical questions.
So not a lot of this questions that chess players get used to about all the silly questions about like how many moves in advance you can see and stuff like that.
No, none of those things.
None at all. Wow,
nope.
That's shocking.
Yeah, so it's pretty intense. Just right in there.
Wow. Huh. Okay. And this news release that went around, was that something that you and your family put together, or how did it suddenly come out if you were hired a few months ago for this?
Well, so I was hired a few months ago, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't completely sure if I was going to be taking the job, because I had also applied for some graduate schools.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, just once, because most of the graduate school, like the decisions come out by like mid-April or so. So it was after that I knew that I was going to be taking it for sure.
Okay. Now, I don't want to bring up a sensitive subject, but does this mean that there's a graduate school that didn't admit you?
There were some, yes.
I need to talk with those people, Luke. I think they have some flaws in their admission process.
Yeah, I think a lot of it might be the age.
Okay.
And just especially for master's programs, they really like it if you have some experience in the workplace.
Okay. And were these CS programs?
Yeah, some computer science and some math.
Okay.
So what I'm planning to do instead of actually going to graduate school is there's Georgia Tech has an online master's in computer science that's specifically designed for people that are concurrently working. So I think I'll be doing that. They make it it's pretty affordable, and they make it really easy to it's still like a really high quality program. Like they put you through the same process as the students on the campus. So I'll be doing that while I'm working at Google.
You're not one to take it easy, huh?
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's talk about chess for a bit, because this is a chess podcast. So I'm I find your whole story fascinating, and hopefully our listeners do too. But I'm sure they'd like to hear some chess talk too. So my first question is, how does this impact your plans of becoming a grandmaster?
I'm still really trying to become a grandmaster. So I currently have one grandmaster norm, and I'm about 50 FIDE points away. So you need to get to 2,500. I'm about 2,450 right now. So I still want to become a grandmaster. Obviously, during college, it's hard to travel for tournaments. Just the tournaments are usually pretty long, and you don't really know when you're going to have tests or something that you might need to be there for. So I started at Google in August. So during the summer, I'm going to a lot of tournaments, like the Chicago Open and the World Open and tournaments like that. So really, I'm studying a lot now to try to get my grandmaster title.
Okay.
So I do want to get that, definitely. I don't think I plan after I get that. I'm sure I'll still play occasionally, and I'm sure I'll play online and things like that. But I don't really plan on continuing as much competitively.
Okay, and that is, I guess, your job is the primary reason for that decision?
Yeah, because, it's hard to take 3 to 5 days off.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And is there otherwise you enjoy playing, though? It's not do you enjoy the experience of traveling and going to tournaments?
Yeah, I definitely do. I've been doing it for pretty much as long as I can remember. Going to these tournaments, and it's really I've really enjoyed the tournaments. Just playing chess is great it's in itself. Then just the traveling and just all the places you get to see. So I definitely do want to continue. But.
And are you doing any international travel this summer for chess?
I don't have any planned right now.
My personal recommendation, not that you asked for it, is that you look for some international travel, because it sounds like someone who works as hard as you do. I don't know when you'll have another chance, so you should take advantage if you have an opportunity. And according to the news reports, you're getting a decent paycheck, so you might as well go for it. We've had a few podcast guests who've made European trips and stuff like that, and none of them seem to regret it. But okay, enough unsolicited advice.
All right.
So let's get it. So first of all right, on to chess. Tell me, you mentioned you're going to be studying a lot. So a player like you, rated 2,450, and trying to sort of break through that final barrier to grandmaster. What is your study routine like? What do you do?
So I do a lot of the same things as anyone studying chess. But the main thing I focus on probably is openings right now. Especially at the higher levels. The higher level you get, the more important openings are relatively, because there's fewer mistakes in the whole game. And if you make a mistake in the opening, you could have just known with the computer, then that's especially bad. So it's more important relatively. So yeah, most of it is just going through openings, just trying to learn some new openings, but mostly just reviewing my openings, and just especially at my last tournament I played, I lost to 2 grandmasters out of the opening.
Right.
But it's just especially because openings tend to be forgotten very easily.
Right.
So Like if I don't study them for a couple months, then suddenly I don't remember.
And then you're doing primarily chess-based work for openings, I would gather?
Yeah, just like chess-based databases of all my different lines.
Okay. And do you look at the whole games or just try to memorize the theory?
Usually, I'll look at whole games and like key lines. Usually, a lot of the games end up looking similar in the opening. Like if you might have 5 different variations, but they all lead to some similar positions.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily need to look at games for the whole thing. But yeah, besides that, I still do like tactics. Some tactics playing. I play some online, although that's more just for fun. Playing Blitz on the different websites. But
okay, how do you go about doing tactics?
I usually so I have some books. But usually I'm using, it's called chesstempo.com.
Yeah.
So it's a popular one. And the puzzles there, I like them a lot because they're all from real games. Mm-hmm. So, and a lot of times they're kind of silly. Like in a normal tactics book, they'll usually be like, there's some sacrifice you have to calculate, and like you have to find the mate at the end of the variation or something. But these all come from real games. So sometimes it'll just be like there's just a free piece, but is it really a free piece? Or is there's some trick behind it. I don't know. I just really like that aspect of it, and the puzzles are very hard too. Some of them are very, very hard. So
okay, and they're from tournament games or games on the server, or
they're all Chess Tempo has a database of like 4 million games or something.
Okay,
and they're all from. They have some algorithm, I guess, that they use to generate puzzles. So
okay, and are the puzzles repeated often or not much?
Not much.
Okay. Sounds like I need to try out that tactics trainer. I know that a few other guests have mentioned it as well. Do you feel like you have a strength as a chess player stylistically?
I think my strength is in like the wild positions that you get, like the openings, where there's just like so much going on that it's hard to keep track of. Where just like everyone's attacking each other and just like the very tactical positions.
Okay.
So yeah, those are my favorite to play. I think that's why I've just studied them more, and so I think those are my strongest. Okay,
and to the extent that you're able to evaluate, do you feel like you're Grandmaster strength now, or like you need to get better? And I think everything besides my openings is, but I think especially my openings, I don't think they are. Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to focus on those. And to some extent, it's kind of just luck, like what openings different people play in different games. Because they could play an opening that I might not have reviewed for a couple months, or they could play something that I'd reviewed the other day.
Right.
So just the more you cover, the higher chance there is that you actually know it well.
And are you a guy who plays like a lot of different openings, or you tend to stick with things that you know really well?
I usually stick with things I know really well. Occasionally I'll go off on a limb and play something weird, but it usually doesn't work
right
very well. So, like I remember at the junior, at one of the big tournaments I play in, I played a weird line at the Sicilian. It's not very good, but I was just trying to throw my opponent off track, and I lost as white in like 20 moves. So after that, I haven't really experimented too much with different things.
Okay. All right, and let's take it back, because you said you started, or I read you started playing chess when you were 4, right?
Yeah.
And was that when was your first tournament?
I think it was 5 or 6, somewhere around there.
Wow. Okay. I actually have a 4-year-old son, so it's just shocking to me, because he plays with the rule that there's no captures allowed, which makes him tough to beat. But I don't think he would. I don't think the tournament directors would like him too much. So when you played at 4, you knew all the rules and you allowed captures, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So my parents, they actually own like a chess school, so I'm from Idaho, and they own a chess school there. And my dad's he's a pretty strong chess player. So like he taught me that. He was the one that taught me back when I was 4. And when you're a young kid like that, you really just have to make it very, very fun for them. So, you still want to teach them the real rules, but you want to make them have fun. You want to give them prizes, and you want to, Like
Okay.
you want to just not just do straight up chess, because chess by itself, especially when you're young, seems very boring. So yeah, he was able to make it very fun for me.
So what sort of prizes? I'm taking careful notes here. I'm gonna go wake up my 4-year-old as soon as we get done. So no, I'm just kidding. But so prizes. What else? Like, did he tell stories?
Yeah, stories definitely. Like you're traveling through the forest and you meet like a chess master, and he tells you that he will give you part of the magical gem that you need, but you have to solve this chess challenge first. Things like that. Like they're very silly, but when you're young, they seem they can get very into them, and then they're really willing to solve the chess challenges. Versus if you just give them challenges to solve, they don't really want to do it. And if you do that when they're young, then that really develops, like, they really like the game. As they get older, like, they'll need less of they can do more of the chess at a time.
Right.
And I think that develops into, like, a really love of the game, a true love of the game. So I think that really, that's really helped me, just loving the game. And I think that's how people should get started. But
okay, and you may not remember, being that you were just 4, but you also may have heard from your parents. So was it like they taught you the rules and you got it right away, or was the actual process of learning the rules a challenge at 4?
I don't think the rules were. I don't really remember about that, but I don't think the rules were too challenging. I think just like a lot of it just like sitting still.
Right.
And
Okay.
just being able to sit still and actually like play a couple moves of a chess game is hard for someone as young as that. So
Okay. And at what age did you feel like it like took a hold of you and like you didn't need to be told fairy tales anymore and you just wanted to play and study chess?
Probably when I was like 6 or 7.
Okay. That's what I would have guessed.
Yeah. So I mean, you have to do it. I mean, even when I was 5, like I started, because I think I played in some tournament back then. I remember not doing very well, and I'm a very competitive person, so I really don't like losing, and that's always I've never really liked losing. So I think that kind of, even back then, I think I was very competitive. I have a brother, and we're very competitive with each other, and he was a chess player.
Right.
He is a chess player. So.
And he was playing back then, right?
Yeah. He started 1 year before I did.
Okay. And your parents were chess teachers even back then? Okay, so yeah, that's helpful for sure.
Yeah.
How did they? You're from Idaho, correct?
Yeah.
Where in Idaho?
Boise, so the capital.
Okay, so yeah, so there actually is some population there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Much,
I was gonna, yeah. Otherwise, I was wondering who they could teach chess to. But I guess there's decent enough density so they were able to do that full time.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And did they teach? So I guess they taught in schools and ran tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
So you were also identified early on as rather academically gifted. Is that an accurate assessment, Luke?
Yeah. So I think when I was young, I really liked math. I didn't enjoy reading as much, but like I really liked math. So like whenever we go to the store, and just seeing all the numbers of like the different, like the prices of the different items, I think that just really excited me. And I think my parents could tell that like I really liked the math. And it was kind of similar with the chess. I liked the math, so they helped me develop it from a very early age. Teaching me like how to like double numbers. So like when I was 5, like they taught me how to like double the numbers up into. So like going like 1, then 2, then 4, then 8, then 16. They taught me how to do that and like to go into like the millions. I just thought that was really cool. And yeah, I guess it was just similar with chess. Like they really helped me develop it early on. And yeah, so when I was in 3rd, so that was in my first couple years. So I played chess. I'm playing a lot of chess, obviously. I'm still going to school. And then when I'm in 2nd grade, when I'm in 1st grade, my brother, Carl, he takes a test to get into a magnet school that was called the Treasure Valley Math and Science Center in Boise. and he got in. So the normal age for entering was the 7th grade. He entered there as a 6th grader. And then my parents saw that I was relatively bored with, especially the math in my school. So they had me take the test as a 2nd grader to get into the school.
Huh. Okay.
So then,
I see where this is going, by the way.
yeah. So then I entered normally the normal age was 7th grade. So I entered that as a 3rd grader.
Wow.
So
you were in 7th grade. You were in a 7th grade class in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, what are your memories of it?
I remember. I don't remember too much. I remember at least from the early years at the school. I went to that school for up until before I went to UCLA.
Okay. Were the kids like nice to you?
Yeah, they were. They were. I mean, at that age, it's very obvious that I'm much younger than them. But yeah, they were very nice to me.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't remember feeling.
Yeah, it might be that you were so much younger that they felt they had to be nice to you. Like if you were 1 or 2 years younger, they could like pick on you and stuff. But like,
yeah,
when you're like half their age, it would be a little awkward for them to bully you. All right. Well, that's amazing. So you're doing the academic stuff and the chess stuff, and you started to study chess a lot right away, or was it just sort of you were talented and just played like any other kid?
I did. I know I studied a decent amount, I think, at first. I don't think I studied a lot. But yeah, I think I liked it a lot, so I was able to study. And then...
Yeah, and I guess you had your dad at home, so it didn't necessarily...
Yeah, and he was... Yeah, and it wasn't... and he helped me a lot. He helped me, like, pick books and...
So any favorite books from your youth that you would recommend to listeners?
Favorite books from my youth.
Chess books, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Trying to remember. I can't... What was a good one? I mean... I know there are just, like, a lot of just, like, chess kids, like, tactics books.
Okay.
So just, like, things like that. I can't remember the names of the specific ones.
Okay. And what about now? Is there any books at your current level that you still work through, or are you just mostly too busy with openings?
Yeah, the main books I work through are Dvoretsky books. So him and Archer Yusupov. Yeah, they've written a lot of books together. I don't know, at least 10. But those books are great because they're able to cater to such a wide audience in chess, which is hard to do. But yeah, especially those are more typically more positionally based versus the tactics that I really like. So I think those are I still do those, and I've been going through those different books.
Okay, and were you like near the top of your age group from an early age? I know that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it was when I was I think when I was 8 or 9. When I was 8, I already had like a breakthrough. I went from like 1,200 to 1,800 in a single year, and that's when I realized that I could actually. I was like still wasn't at the very top, but I was up there for my age, and I realized that this is something that I could actually be very good at. So.
Okay. All right, and so any like standout memories from growing up playing chess? Like, is there one thing that you think of as a highlight, or is it just general pleasant memories?
I definitely just I remember. There's no, at least from my early days, there's nothing in particular that really stands out. I don't know. I remember the first time I beat my brother at chess. That was fun. But besides that, nothing too much in particular from early on.
Okay. And then, all right, so, and you went to college at 13, but I guess it's now, so you finished 12th grade, or did you skip a grade in order to go to college?
So the school I went to, the Treasure Valley Math and Science Center, they're just math and science. So like I did that for 6 years. So like I went through like the 12th grade there. But that school they're not like an official high school. Like usually the students there would also go to like another high school. for like their English and their history and those kind of things. So I did take some of the English and history classes, but I didn't actually graduate. So I went through the 12th grade of the Treasure Valley Math and Science, and then I went to college without taking a lot of like the English and art and history classes that you normally need to take. Okay.
And how did you decide what to study in college?
I'd always enjoyed math, so I entered UCLA as a math major, but I'd taken computer science. I'd taken one course in high school on computer science, and I really liked it, and so like I wanted to try that out. And it's very similar to math, computer science. It's a lot of the same skills that you need for both of them, and then they're both similar to chess too, with the skills like the problem solving, like the more creative aspect of it a lot of times. And I think that drew me to math and computer science, both of them. So that's how I ended up being a double major in math and computer science. So
okay, yeah, because I've noticed that I think there's a fair amount of overlap between chess players who do programming and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Did you have that link directly in your mind, or you just tried programming and independently realized you liked it?
Yeah, it was. I'd heard it was similar to math. Okay. I didn't really know anything about it besides that, but.
Okay, and did you find the course load at UCLA challenging?
Yeah, it's been very challenging over 4 years. Just especially the double major, because it's required me to take most. So UCLA is on the quarter system, which means that, so every academic year there's 3 quarters, which is kind of confusing. But there's also a summer quarter. So, but yeah, it's like usually I'll take like 4 or 5 classes a quarter, which has been quite a lot. One quarter I even had to take 7 classes. So wow. Yeah, it's been a lot of work. But I think it's prepared me very well for the future.
And did you get the sense that other people? So it was nothing specific to you. You felt like anyone taking your course load was basically going to be swamped.
Yeah, most of the computer science classes, I honestly think this. I think that they're the hardest because most of them, they're all project based, pretty much. So like throughout an entire class, like you'll develop like a specific project, but like you have to make sure it actually works at the end of the quarter, and like there's like very specific guidelines, and usually a single class will be outside of class. It can be like up to like 12 hours a week of just like programming that you have to do every week. So, and just when I have to take like 2 or 3 of those at a time, I think anyone's going to find it challenging, and all of my peers have for sure. So
how many hours a week do you think you were doing schoolwork these past few years? I mean, counting in class time as well as
counting in class time.
Yeah,
I mean, probably at least like 60, probably.
Oh wow, that's insane.
So yeah, it's a lot.
So basically, you studied 0 chess, I'm guessing.
Yeah, not very much. Like occasionally I'd play online, or occasionally I'd do a little bit. This quarter, like this current quarter, my last quarter, is the only one. Like I'm only taking 3 classes this quarter, so it's actually been not too bad. So that's why I've actually had time to study chess. But yeah, it's a lot of work. So
and you're getting some time. After you finish, you're getting some time completely off. Is that right? Or are you going?
So I graduate on June, mid-June, and then I'm going to start at Google at the end of August.
Okay.
So about 2.5 months.
So you won't even know what to do with yourself.
Yeah.
So what are you into outside of academic pursuits? What do you do when you don't use your brain?
I play piano.
Okay, but, that doesn't count.
Yeah, I do play video games.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so most of
that sort of counts.
Yeah, like the Nintendo games, so like Mario and Pokemon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, into sports at all, or music?
I don't listen to very much music, which is no, and I don't. I used to swim, but besides that, I haven't done too much sports either. So.
Okay. And so the job at Google, have you talked to people who do what you'll be doing?
I haven't. I don't know anyone that's done the same job, but I've talked to other people that have worked at Google, and they find Google is just such an amazing company to work for. They make it. They really want you to do the best you can, and they give you a lot of resources and just a lot of even just random things that they'll help you with. So like all three of your meals are provided for.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean if you get there early enough for breakfast.
Okay, but you have to be at the office.
Yeah. You have to be at the office.
Okay.
So they have like their main campus in Mountain View. That's very, it's like the big one. So yeah, and they have they'll even do your laundry for you. So I don't know how that works yet, but
you'll find out.
Yes, I'm sure I will. So.
And do you get the sense that you're going to be like under pressure to work a lot of hours?
I don't think so. I think the people I've talked to in other jobs have said that they don't, like once they get off work, like there's no pressure to like constantly be checking your phone or like checking your work email. So. Okay.
And I know historically there's been like a legend of Google where they give you time that you're supposed to spend on projects outside of your strict like purview as a programmer. Do you know if that's still a thing?
Yeah, so 20% of your time, so I guess like 1 day a week, you're allowed to spend on stuff that's outside of your project. Yeah, so it can be a variety of different things.
Chess?
You can be, I think it's supposed to. Usually, it's still related to the company.
So you would have to write a chess program.
Yes, I'll write a chess program to solve chess.
Right.
But you can do a lot of different things. Like Google has I know some people volunteer with their time through like Google programs. You can also like work with like other teams. So like if there's a team you're interested in that you might want to transfer to, you can spend some time like with them on that 20%, so that you get to so you can determine if you actually want to do it beforehand.
Okay. And do you have projects in mind yet, or is that like too far away?
Yeah, I don't really know. The main thing is Google is such a big company that there's a lot of teams. There's just a lot of teams. I think I've heard that there are like over 5,000 different teams.
Wow.
So, like some of them, like the Google does. So natural language processing is what like a lot of what Google does, which is just like trying to find like when you type something into Google, like what is cheese, then like they have to figure out what you mean by that. So like, and that's like the biggest team at Google, and that's like 5,000 people. But like you might not even think about like that when you're thinking about the company. And I'm sure there's a lot of teams like that I just don't even know about. So I don't really know.
And you don't know, you have no idea where you'll be.
Yeah, I don't know where I'll be yet. So
okay. And you mentioned jokingly computers solving chess, but it occurred to me that you kind of have a unique perspective on the relationship of computers and chess and the future of computers and chess. So where do you think we're headed in terms of Chess 960 and computers destroying or helping people play chess?
I mean, computers passed humans in chess a long time ago.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I think if they had destroyed chess, they would have already done it.
Okay.
I don't think just because the computers know how to play good chess doesn't make it less interesting for us to try. I do. One thing about computers is that kind of annoys me, especially when like watching games. Is how because usually when you watch games like chess games online, there's always like a computer now that tells you, oh, this guy made a mistake. Like now his position is +1. Oh, the other guy made a mistake. Now the position is -1. It takes a lot of the thinking out of it, and like a lot of the human element out of even just watching the game, even if you're not playing. So, like I don't think they're gonna ruin chess for sure, and
Well, does it bother you that you have to spend all this time studying openings? That you're
it does. Like, because I don't like that. I don't like just memorizing as much as possible, just in the hope that I get something that I know, so that I don't lose out of the opening. I don't find it interesting. I don't know if other people do.
And it's always struck me as a related, but not really the same skill set.
Yeah, because it's a lot of it's just memorization.
Yeah, and it's not growing in equal proportion to, like, okay, everyone's better at chess than they were 50 years ago, but the degree to which they're better at tactics is probably smaller than the degree to which, like, the percentage more theory that they need to know.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's frustrating. So are you an advocate of some sort of alternative chess, like, 960 or Fisher Random or whatever, you want to call it?
I haven't really spent that much time, like, thinking about like the other kind of chess. I do like chess 960, but the randomness of it, I don't like randomness either. So I like, because like chess, the thing I really like about chess is how it's like it's all skill.
Right.
Versus a lot of other games that are popular have some element of luck, and I don't like that about Fisher Random. Just because even if the set positions are symmetrical for both sides, just to having the first move as white can be a big advantage in some positions and not an advantage in all in others. So yeah, that's what I don't like about those. I don't really know what to suggest instead of that, though.
Okay, like I said, that 20% time at Google. You
Yes.
just gotta tie it into programming.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know recently Google had like the AlphaGo program. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
But that's like the so Go has been like chess has been computers have been better for a long time, but Go was for a long time considered that like it wouldn't happen for a lot longer that computers could beat humans at Go, because it's a lot, even more so than chess, it's a lot more intuitive. But earlier, I think it was earlier this year, late last year, Google made a program called AlphaGo, and it challenged like one of the best, I think it's the current world champion of Go, or like a former world champion, like pretty recent, and it beat him 4-1.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I know Google is interested in these kinds of like artificial intelligence programs that can play these different games. So,
okay, so you
we'll
never
see
know
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I only have one or two more questions, Luke. So, do you have any advice for chess players? I mean, the broadest brushstroke is, of course, wishing to improve, but the more general the question, the harder it is to give. So, let's start by saying, a kid who's really into chess, teenager who's rated 1800. What should they do to make expert?
I mean, probably the best way to get to expert is just by practice, just by studying a lot. I mean, besides like in specific, everyone's going to enjoy different aspects of their chess. Everyone's going to study different things. So like, I can tell you to study tactics, but you might be really good at tactics, and you might need to study positional chess. And me telling you to study tactics might actually hurt you.
Seems unlikely.
So, I guess tactics can always be improved, but I mean just relatively. But
right. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of it is probably just like self-evaluation. Just like really like look at one of your games and just make sure you're honest with yourself about like what mistakes you made. Because it's easy to play a game and just even if you lose and just say that like, oh, that's just a one-time thing, it's not going to happen again. But just be honest with yourself about your playing, and like actually focus on what you're not the best at.
And when you're playing, do you consider yourself a practical player, like over the board?
Yeah, I generally, I generally don't play like crazy like sacrifices or those kind of things. Yeah, pretty.
And you're good at assessing whether or not you should take a draw and stuff like that.
Generally. Yeah, I don't think there have been any major cases where like I've taken a draw in a winning position or those kind of things, which is good. That's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Just like you realize later that you're just like crushing your opponent, but it looks like you just took a draw. even against higher rated players, I've generally avoided taking draws. Because usually when a higher rated player offers you a draw, you're not going to. It's because they have a bad position. So, if you're playing this long game, you may as well finish it and don't take a draw just because they offer you a draw.
So, Luke, just one more question. I know you mentioned you're going to play some tournaments this summer, and you're hoping to make GM. But it doesn't sound like. Are you going to target any sort of norm type tournaments? I know you're going to play super strong fields like at the World Open and stuff like that, but are you going to go to any of these invitationals where they try to make norms a little more doable?
I don't have any currently on the radar. I've liked open tournaments more, and I think for my playing style they're better for me because in the closed tournaments you really get to learn what openings your opponents plays very, very well. So I think that the open tournaments have generally been better for me than the closed tournaments. That's why the only closed tournament I've ever gone to was the U.S. Junior Closed.
Okay.
But besides that, I don't think I've ever gone to an invitational or something. I don't like them as much. I like playing against an open field, but I don't.
And I don't want to be a downer, but if you're to not get the 2 norms that you need over the summer, with you starting full-time work, do you have any sense of how much of an effort you would make after that?
I don't know, because I feel like when I'm working, I feel like I might have more time. I don't know the specifics of how it works, but I feel like I might actually have more time to study. So I might just not play for a while, but I'm definitely still going to study if I don't make it. I don't know when exactly I'd play next, but definitely still want to get it. So.
And luckily, the Bay Area is not like a backwater. I think you'll have some chances to play without having to travel too far. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, Luke, I really appreciate your time. It's quite a story. I think you make me feel like I haven't accomplished anything in my life, but I'm not going to hold you personally responsible for that. So, you're doing amazing things, and it's definitely good publicity for chess. What you've done, and I look forward to seeing what you accomplish. Although I'm sure chess fans out there will be a little bit sad that you're going to downshift a little bit.
Yeah, but.
But if anyone listening to this wants to reach you, is there a way to contact you or questions or anything?
So I have a website. It's just lukevellotti.com. My last name is tricky to spell, so it's VELLOTTI. lukevellotti.com.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, there you have it. Well, Luke, thanks again for doing this. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to do this.
Thanks for listening to Perpetual Chess. To hear more episodes, give feedback, or suggest guests, go to perpetualchesspod.com. If you like the show, please help me out by telling your friends and giving me a high rating on iTunes. I'll be back next week with another episode of the Perpetual Chess Podcast.